It's not clickbait. It's time to say goodbye to the camels. They're leaving the farm.
Hey, Mel. We've got Millie's pregnancy test results back. But before we get to that,
we're gonna rewind a little bit, remind you, those of you who are new, why we even had camels in the first place. Then we'll talk about their future and what's gonna happen with Millie and Solomon.
About 2 years ago, we noticed that our baby, our 6-month-old son, wasn't gaining any weight. Yes, it's a little bear. It's a little white bear. Our baby started showing signs that something wasn't going well with him physically. He stopped gaining weight. He was having issues with his stomach. Even though he's exclusively breastfed, we knew something wasn't right. We've never had this issue with our other kids. So we took him to our doctor.
We have 5 kids, so noticing something different about his growth obviously had us worried, trying to figure out what was going on.
So right now I'm on an extremely limited diet, a total elimination diet they call it, of very basic foods. Hello. Yeah. To try to figure out exactly what is bothering him. We were noticing blood in his diapers, which alarmed us, alarmed the doctor, and just he was a little baby who was in a lot of pain, and we didn't know why.
We got a lot of video to...
I cried the whole time.
It's okay. If you've ever been in the position where, you know, you have a child or a family member who's got something wrong and you don't know what it is, you know it kind of sends you down a rabbit hole of just looking for answers. And that rabbit hole can go really deep into some really wild places. And in our instance, trying to figure out not only what was wrong with him, but in the meantime, what we could do to give him some nutrition, to give him some food that would sustain him while trying to learn what he could and couldn't eat. We kind of stumbled across camels.
Sounds like uncomfortable to stumble across a camel.
Yeah, it would
Sounds like it would be painful.
Yeah, stumbling across a camel would be.
We started the basics of where you start when your baby's sick, what the doctors say. Take out dairy, didn't help. Take out soy, it didn't help. Take out all the top allergens, it didn't help. Nothing helped. And so we were exclusively breastfeeding because whatever solid food we tried, it just was terrible.
To figure out what our baby could and couldn't eat, he was breastfed. Kay had to go on an extreme elimination diet. Well, any elimination diet, you have to eliminate like all the things you normally eat. The baby was losing weight. Kay lost a lot of weight.
We watched a nature film a couple weeks ago that talked about a flamingo who had raised a chick, and it took so much out of her that she was white. She wasn't pink anymore. She loses
her color.
That's what I was. I was a white flamingo who wasn't going to be ready to breed again because I was so exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally. Yeah, him and I were kind of shells of what we should have been.
I think at one point Kay's diet was just venison and kale. Literally a whole month of just eating 3 meals a day of venison and kale.
I still can't eat venison.
Or kale. I still can't eat kale.
We were stuck. We were consulting with specialists all over the world to try to figure out what was going on, and no one could figure it out.
Yeah.
The next step was an amino acid based formula for him. We got it, the doctor sent it to us, we had the box. Ready to open it, ready to use it, just anxious about what this would do to him as far as feeding. It tastes really bad. He was old enough to realize when things tasted bad, so we were afraid it was going to just result in a cascade of things, becoming a feeding tube and a baby who needed to be in the hospital to teach him how to eat. It's just itchy.
Just itchy. The baby's allergies, the baby's food intolerances. Essentially what we have figured out without having a lot of solid answers is gut issues. Gushers. Gushers, yum.
Speaking of intolerances.
Gut issues come from, gushers. It's all the children of the 90s.
I was just poring over medical journals, studies, dietitians, asking them questions, doctors, and then I went down the rabbit hole of Facebook groups.
For gut healing?
For gut healing, yeah, Facebook groups for gut healing. And reading the studies that they were referencing and looking at the websites they were talking about. And so many times I kept reading about camel milk.
And basically, long story short, camel milk's proteins are different than almost every other mammal. They're much more digestible. They're very, very similar to human breast milk.
Yeah, less inflammatory.
And
they also have high levels of vitamins that can help with a kind of a triggered system.
yeah.
Which is what happens if you've been reacting to all this food.
So we started looking into buying camel milk, and this is like, at this point, January of 2020, which
Yeah.
we all know what was about to happen. We were looking into kind of sourcing camel milk, finding somebody who could provide us some camel milk, and we learned there was very few people in the United States as a whole that sell camel milk. Camels are pretty rare, and basically if you want to get camel milk, you have to get it shipped to you.
Plus with COVID, it was getting harder and harder to source things. So all the food that I was eating and relying on, we couldn't get anymore. It got to the point where whatever control we could get over our food, we wanted to have. Which led us to, instead of trying to buy camel milk and ship it, consider buying a camel to milk to have our own source of camel milk.
And I know that's crazy.
It does sound crazy, and I keep thinking like, well, do normal people do this? And I feel like in a position, when you're in a situation where you feel so out of control, you just try to find something that you can control. And that was something we could do. We could say,
Yeah,
we will have our own source of milk.
we will have our own camel.
So we can rely, there's something we can rely on in a crazy world right now. For us, that was something we could do for ourselves to have the control over, to hopefully help us.
Yeah.
Question I'm sure everybody's thinking is...
Hold on.
Oh, of course.
I got it.
You have a better way.
Yeah.
Always.
It's time to address the elephant in the room.
That's no better
Get
than
it?
what I was saying.
It's a camel. It's like the closest thing to an elephant that you could have on a farm. Why do we get elephants?
I'm not sure.
A lot of you will remember wearing its shirt,
Oh, me too.
the camel train. This was kind of like a historic part of Homesteady history. We did a 100-day, everyday video documentary.
This one, you gotta kind of point.
Doesn't taste like medicine.
It's not goaty.
Our sheep are loaded up and we're headed back to the homestead because we're on a COVID road trip. No stops, no snacks, no fun. This is cool, mung beans.
Yeah, it kind of like the camels came on the farm.
Yep.
That began the 100 days that spearheaded our journey of allergy-free food production on our farm here.
And that included not just camel milk, that included raising meat rabbits off of pasture, raising chickens without
Corn and soy and
Weeds
wheat and egg production, same way, no corn, no soy, no wheat. So sourcing our own feed without any allergens. in there.
we were growing lettuce indoors, hydroponic.
Just pretty much just trying to take out any potential allergen out of our diet and grow as much food as we could for ourselves here on our homestead. We did it!
What do you think, kid?
No.
No what? chicken stuff.
And
What do you think, dude?
it's a time new thing. Okay, puppy. Have to try some new things.
And this came at a really good time for a lot of our audience following because it was COVID. So many people wanted to learn more about growing their own food. And a good number of our Homesteady following kind of joined in this mission. They became pioneers, joined the camel train. Special shout out to all of you who joined the camel train. Comment below if you became a Homesteady pioneer during that time. And those pioneers, they got a one-of-a-kind camel train t-shirt with their particular camel highlighted on the back. And
They got a shout on the show. They got a lifetime access to the Pioneer Library of all sorts of interviews. And
yeah, I'll never forget every single day shouting out the new Pioneer member on the video. And then getting together with them, we were doing special interviews. We still do those. You can watch in the extended library. And speaking of which, if you are a pioneer or camel train or not, let us know in the comments. We're starting to book our fall interviews, so let us know what things you'd like us to cover. We got a really great interview coming up all about pastured pigs. That's coming out soon.
for me, it made me feel not so alone in the whole journey.
Yeah.
Especially because we were all so isolated with COVID, all kind of doing crazy things that we hadn't done before.
Yeah.
But we were all doing it together. That was the most I think we've ever done on our homestead. Pigs, rabbits, cows,
Oh yeah.
camels, chickens, meat birds. Yeah, and all the indoor hydroponic stuff.
A lot of people spent 2020 Netflix and chilling. Homesteaders were working double time, I think. At the end of that season, I mean, we had grown more food than we ever had.
Our freezers were full of allergy-free meat.
And we were stocked up on camel milk. The camel milking endeavor was a huge, huge success.
Yeah, Millie came in milk with her calf. We were milking twice a day. I found the milk delicious. I found the milk delicious. It was one thing I could have in the morning, a warm cup of frothed camel milk that kind of just, it was, yeah, when my diet was down to hardly anything, camel milk was something delicious, warm, comforting that I could have every day that was nutritious for me, but also wasn't harming my baby, which I couldn't say that about anything else that I was eating, but I knew it wasn't hurting him. But camel milk, we knew from our trials that it wasn't hurting him, and it was good for me.
There were so many comments during our camel train, people going through similar things. I'm hoping this video can be an encouragement to some of you who maybe still are in that dark period, because fortunately, every tunnel there's a light at the end. And for us, we have finally figured out.
And it's taken this whole time. This has been just a recent development, 2 years,
Yeah.
2 years in, where we figured out what exactly is wrong with our little boy.
Yeah, yeah, if you know what that's like. Yep. And I know, sadly, some people's tunnel, that dark tunnel, is a lot longer. We were very, very fortunate to be able to learn his issues, adapt his diet, and he is a chunky little boy now.
He was born 50th percentile. He dropped down at a year old to the 1st percentile. Now, because we changed his diet to food he can digest, he's up to about 40th percentile, which is huge. Huge. For months and months he didn't gain anything, and now we see every week he's actually gaining weight.
It's getting hard to hold.
He's heavy. He's gaining so fast. We've learned that what he has is a deficiency of sucrase and isomaltase, enzymes, which means he doesn't digest sucrose or starches, which is a limiting diet for a little guy, but knowing that the food he's eating won't cause him intestinal injury and it won't wake him up screaming at night is totally worth all the dietary limitations that we have now.
To figure that out, you went on probably 10 different diets.
I did so many. I did them all. I can talk to anybody about whatever diet they're on right now because I know them all.
Recently, we were talking to somebody and they said, "Oh, my diet's a little tricky," and we were like, "Try us." But one constant through the whole thing was Millie's milk. Kay was able to have Millie's milk for morning coffee every single day, and literally to like last week.
Yeah, we had stockpiled enough that even when she dried up, we have had it in the freezer. So every morning I've been able to have our camel milk.
Yeah, and it's just been a foundation, that routine, having our morning coffee and it not changing. Before Millie showed up, there was a brief period where you went off cow's milk and you were on like nut milks.
Oh,
and you were so
yeah.
angry every morning.
Yeah, and I don't feel good on them. And on the camel's milk, I feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the camel milk was a huge success for us, which is why I wear my camel milk shirt with pride because I'm sure there's someone out there who sees it and I can tell about it and maybe it can help them too.
Yeah, so you Camel Train members who have your Got Camel Milk t-shirts, don't be afraid when people ask you, camel milk, tell them about the benefits of it. It's another thing out there that the more and more people who know about it and can use it, the better. And there are so many people out there who not only want camel milk, but are looking for a good source.
Yeah, so for us, camels have been a huge success.
Yeah.
Now, what we've learned and what we've been able to include back in our son's diet is dairy. So cow's milk, his lactose levels are fine. That's something that's really helped him put on weight as well.
Yes.
Cheese,
Lots
yogurt,
of milk.
milk. Yeah, he's a dairy lover now.
Yeah. And we're at this point now where we just ran out of camel milk. And while we love it, we would love to have it again. Millie's dried up. And we actually don't need camel milk right now ourselves.
No, not like we did a year ago.
There are lots and lots of people out there who do. We get emails from time to time, people, hey, do you know a source? Can I find a source? Because they're looking for it. And that kind of brings us to
Millie's test results.
and the future of our camels.
We had the vet out. We pulled blood from Millie to test her progesterone to see if she is with calf. And the test came back that her progesterone is very, very low. So she is not pregnant. Which means if she's not pregnant, she won't calve and she won't have any milk. Camels aren't allowed to be imported into the US anymore, so what we have in the US is what we've got. And it's good for Millie to get pregnant to have a calf. Unfortunately, it's just not happening for us and for Millie here on our farm. For us and Millie and the setup we have on our farm, it's just not working to get her bred and to keep a pregnancy. Which means we are making a hard decision now. Millie is a great mom. She adopted Solomon, who wasn't even her calf. She loves her little babies, and when she has a calf, will provide a really valuable product. We are not comfortable having a camel bull on our property. They're huge animals that come into a rut, and that makes them very dangerous, which is why we got Solomon castrated. We weren't interested in dealing with those kind of issues. Sweet naturally.
So, making the decision to not have a bull camel here on the farm, we now realize without that, Millie will not be bred and keep the baby here. It's just not going to work. What's best for Millie, we feel, is that she gets bred. She has a calf. She produces milk. She provides that amazing product for another family who needs it right now. And we can't do that. So we've decided it's time to let Millie go on to her next home. Which brought us to the next hard decision of Solomon.
Camels are a herd animal. Solly likes to be with Millie.
Yeah, when we sent her away to be bred last year,
He kind of just paces
for about a month.
anxiously, so he's not happy.
No.
He needs to be in a home with other camels too.
Which I don't know about you. I love both our camels. Millie provided the product that like helped you and our baby so much, and I'm so grateful to Millie. But I love, like, Solly is my favorite.
Oh yeah, he's friendly. He's
Yeah.
very friendly, and whatever you hear about camels, you know, there's rumors out there. They spit. They're mean. they're really intelligent, amazing animals.
Yeah.
So if you see a camel, don't be afraid. Ask permission. Don't be afraid to go up and make friends with them.
When people come to visit, he'll like come right over and like nuzzle and just, and he's the one I'm gonna miss because we've decided it's not nice for him. I would love to keep Solly. I'd love to have just Solly on the farm, but it's just not right for him. But he's the one I'm gonna miss more because he's so like a little teddy bear. He just wants to be your buddy.
Mr. Twiddles, you call him.
Mr. Twiddles, because we'll walk over and he twiddles his
Twiddles
little
his
ear,
ear.
which lets you know he likes you. And yeah, I'm gonna miss Mr. Twiddles.
Yeah. What does that mean for us and camels on our farm? Camel milk has kind of opened up this really cool world for me of alternative milks. And not like nut milks and stuff, but like alternative animal milks. We've been trying water buffalo milk and sheep milk, goat's milk. There's donkey milk still to try. Like the world of animal milks is bigger than I had once known about.
How's that for a cliffhanger?
And there's camels. Will we send Millie and Solomon off to their new home and never have camels again on our homestead?
Never say never. We really, really liked having camels, and we were super disappointed to get these results back.
We were really looking forward to camel baby and
Yeah.
camel milk again on our homestead.
Yeah, and finding out Millie's wasn't pregnant was a big, that was a very sad day for us because we knew now what we had to do, and you know, it's the best choice for her, for Solly, and ultimately for us too. But that doesn't mean it's the one you want to make.
No.
You know, we'd love to have this. We were looking forward to a little February fuzzball, and now we're not going to get that.
No. They've been a great introduction for us into the world of camel ownership, though. A huge learning curve. We've learned so much, and it's information that will benefit us, I think, no matter what animals we go on to have next. And maybe it'll be camels again.
These two camels, owning Millie, owning Solly for the time that we did, they forever changed our life for the better. We're always going to be so grateful to Millie for that amazing product, and to both of them just for being a part of our farm, part of our channel. And we know that through the channel they actually have changed other people's lives too.
Yeah.
There's people who write us and say
thanked us
yeah,
for letting them know about camel milk.
or anything that we covered during the camel train. Just they were all part of that, and we're going to be forever grateful to them, and we're going to miss them.
Now it's time to say goodbye to Millie and Solomon.
All right, buddy. Safe drive. Come on, pup. The book that is Homesteading Life, filled with many chapters, and there's another one closing and another one opening. We're so grateful this chapter ends with a healthy little boy. And 2 special years spent with a couple of camels that he'll never remember, but we'll never forget.
A baby. A baby, a baby, a baby, baby, baby.